everyone, this is Zaza.
I'm Fix.
Welcome to
The Walk.
Yes, it's Sunday. We are here with LinRic, Toto. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, son.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you with us.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Yes, man. So today we are working in domestic violence. Wow. That is a very, oh my gosh. That's a big thing. That is a big thing. Domestic violence, I mean, it's been there for all our lives. You know, I thought maybe by now we'd be speaking a different story. Domestic violence will actually be the all the cases will be down
you know.
and stuff, but it's still there. What's going on?
I don't really know. I think a lot of work needs to go to a boy child. We have taught a girl child how to behave around men, how to please men, you know, how to, we've taught everything to a girl child. But I don't think we have had an emphasis on a boy child. I think that's the only thing that is lacking at the minute.
Yeah.
So and how to treat women. And I've already started with my son, once he raises his voice to a sister like him, I'm like, that's not how you treat women. So I think we need to do a lot of work and have a lot of conversations with boys.
Okay, so we do find that, of course, domestic violence is mostly about women being abused by men. However, there is also cases where men are being abused by women. And also same-sex relationships where a woman is abused by another woman or a man is abused by another man. Yeah. So we are putting that forward. It's not like we just sort of putting women, but it's actually the domestic violence as a whole, what it is, and going deep into it. Yeah.
It's the stats for me. Yes, it's happening, from all sides. Women can, treat men, unfairly and stuff like that. But the stats are still they are still high when it comes to men and doing it to women. But yes, I mean, domestic violence is broad. No one deserves it. No one from any human doesn't deserve to be treated in any bad way like that.
Yeah, definitely. So LinRic, so you've experienced domestic violence. I mean, you're my friend, and you've literally discussed. We've spoken about that. We've gone really. You've experienced sort of told me what you went through to that. But I would really like you to share with us and to somebody else who's listening there who would actually like to know as well.
Yeah, I have actually. Where do I start, Zaza? Okay, I met a guy, a very lovely guy, at my late teens. Nice guy, treated me really like the princess I was, and it was good. We met. It was a bit older than me, about 10 years difference. So we met, but he was fine. He was okay. The most caring, the most loving. Listened to me. Everything was fine. And then we obviously, wanted to take our relationship to another level, which is to he wanted to marry me, and everything was fine. And he went to pay lobola. And so then by then, again, when you pay in our tradition, when you pay lobola, you're already taken as a wife because so nyane that say that form. To be fair, I cannot track exactly where if I think now, when I think about it now, I'm thinking now that I know about the whole psychology of it. I know when it started, but at the time I could only track it from when it happened. But now that I'm here, I did not know about this now. I know the guy was not the prince that I thought he was from the beginning. Because I mistakenly thought his obsession was his love for me. akakwazi ukuphila ngaphandle kwam. Everyone knew into yoba uzofika ungekho. He would be so, worried. So I thought, he can't live without me, and he wanted to be everywhere I was. So by that I thought he loves me. I thought into 560, he can't do without me. I thought I'm really loved. It's now that I'm thinking about that. Whereas if you were to tell me this is what is happening, Umdwam wants to be wherever I am. He wants to know what I'm wearing. He wants to know what time I'm going to be. He would actually say that hairstyle, no, do this one. I like this one. All these red flags. I'll be like, girl, watch out.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, even if we go to an important event, he will take me to town because I need to wear what he thinks suits me. So the red flags were there. So I met the guy. It was like that. It was when the first time I've noticed, it was when we had kind of an argument. I can't remember what it was about. And he called me, a bad name, like my children was like a bitch. And I'm thinking, I've never been called a bitch before. And I have never, done anything that would make him a bitch. And then he said, out of my car, in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. And that was the first time that I thought, now this is not right. Not someone who likes you would do that. That was the first time it clicked for me. That was, I think, 2 years within the relationship. Lots of things happened where we would have an argument when I come late, for an example. I said I was gonna go to his house at 8, for an example, and I'll be there for 9. And then I'll have to explain where I was, who I was with, and stuff like that. So at that particular time, that was the beginning of I think that was the on button for every physical, abuse that happened after that. So that's when it clicked. But if I were to talk about it, from the beginning, that guy was showing me all the signs that he was going to be eventually physical with me, So the thing is, when you are in that situation, you really don't, as I said, you don't really know, because for me at that time, he was loving. For me, that was love. And who is the girl? Who is out there, or a girl that does not want to be the center of a man's life? So that felt good. That felt good. Even though now I'm thinking that wasn't good. But at the time, that felt really good. There was nothing he would do without me, without my input. And he was kind, which it's very hard to explain this. I still think he's a kind person.
Yeah.
He had his own demons too.
Yeah.
So as I said, it's very hard now. I cannot say to you he wasn't kind, but he was kind. He was a good guy. He was the way he was possessive led to many things that we'll talk about as we go. That's how it happened. And as a young person, especially someone paid lobola is about to marry you, the families have met. You have to take it. You have to take it. You can't say no, I can't do it. You have to just listen to him. Just listen. Why did you come late? When you're talking to people, why did you should? And now within you, you are like, oh God, I shouldn't have stayed. For long.
Question yourself.
You start, you want to please this person, And there's a process that over the years that they do, people with such trait. Obviously they groom you to depend on them, because a huge part of our relationship is me and you. You can't have your friends. They are not good. Listen to what she said when you were telling. Do you understand? You start looking at your friends a different way. You start, and then it becomes, without you noticing, you and him, and that's it. Everything you're doing together. He's your friend. He's your everything.
Yeah.
He's your advisor. He's all that, because he's made sure that it's you and him. And then when that happens, then you have to know where to go. It's very hard to talk to others because you have moved. You have distanced yourself from people. your family, they become, people that don't really like him that much. Therefore, you don't understand why they don't like. He's a good guy.
It's really sad to know to hear them do that. I mean, it's still domestic violence, and it happens to one person, like to women. If you wanna put it out there, to women, what they go through. The part where you say you thought you were being loved. It's actually like, wow. You thought you were being loved. You were
Adored.
taken care.
Yeah.
You are the queen of this man's heart. You are. So you thought you were there, and all of this was all about control. Maybe.
Exactly.
Him knowing what you are wearing. Him saying, that hairstyle you have
Like,
on
doesn't suit you. This
doesn't
one.
suit
Go
you.
for this one.
That's like taking you. He's moving you
Changing.
from yourself.
Exactly.
He wants you to be a version of what he wants you to be, but he's
Exactly.
not letting you be yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
It takes a lot of grooming, and many people would probably ask, if you saw that, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you go? But it takes a lot of grooming, because then you totally depend on that person's point of view about you. So, what should I wear? Because even if you wear something you like, he may say change it, for an example. So you're like, what should I wear today? And it becomes your routine, your routine as well. No, what that dress. And at that time you think it's like until you want to wear something that you think it suits you, and he says no, you're like, why? And then everything else, like it starts. So it's horrible like that. It's horrible like that.
Johnny, siyasaba, we are scared as women to even go anywhere. We are early at home, even scared to even get out, because we don't want people to see to see our life, to see the domestic violence, through us, Sensing, what is the message? What is the message you're giving us as women who are going through domestic violence? Sensing, what can we do? How do we seek help? Sensing, where do we start with this thing?
Where do we start with this thing? I mean, this thing, obviously, it starts by the victim talking. Yeah? That's the hardest part, sadly. So it starts by the victim. Like in my case, I had to actually, say to my family, this is after a long time it's been happening. This is actually what is happening. So even if people are asking questions, they suspect that there's something not right about you. I don't know. You hold that embarrassment, isn't it? You're embarrassed that the person that you've introduced to your family is the love of your life, and you love and all, is actually mistreating you in this way. So, but in answering your question, it starts by talking. So I'm going to look at it in terms of those around you. Ask questions. Those around the victim, like the sister, that if you're not sure of what is happening, if you suspect that the person is being a victim of domestic violence, in conversation, or ask questions, and also ask open questions. What's going on for you? You look a bit sad, you look scared around him, or you look like you really, whatever he says matters. We can't even spend extra 5 minutes. You have to go because my boyfriend is obedient or whatever. Well, do you realize that that's not really a good sign? Ask open questions, because sometimes people, they ask, I know uyamoyika, and you're like, I can't moyika iphelele apho. But in the long run, you're about uyamoyika into better. Like really direct questions. I know some people may say, oh no, why would you send their better? It's very important, because it's gonna make you think like, actually he does. And that's a conversation on its own. Ask questions if you are suspecting. And also don't then, even if you ask open questions, don't jump into conclusions in terms of like, leave him, why are you not putting pressure on that person? Understand where the person's mindset is, where what the person is thinking about, and work with what the person is telling you. Work there, just follow there. Your advice should be based on what the person is telling you. If the person is like, I love him, blah 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 blah, work with that in terms of identifying what love is, what love means, but not in a judgmental way of saying, oh, so Mdokthanda doesn't do this. Remember, these people were groomed to depend on the perpetrator. The perpetrator plays a very powerful role to that person. So if you're gonna come with judgments and telling the person to leave, it's not going to work. Yeah, but you're gonna be you know what they say, we've been through a lot as a couple. You're gonna be the through a lot. Meaning there are people that wanted us to split and they didn't win. So you're gonna be, but you work with what the person's saying. As an example, I was saying, if they say I love him, you just explore what love means to them, what being loved means to them. Even if it doesn't happen at the time of the conversation, but when that person is going through another episode of or another incident of domestic violence, all this conversation will ring in their head that actually, as I said, actually, someone who loves you will not treat you like this. And then you think like, I can't be. So it doesn't mean when you're having that conversation at the time, all of a sudden the person will be like, yes, I'm leaving the relationship. But it's conversations that needs to happen. So that's people around you. And if you think like you've seen it happening, you've actually seen it happening. There's a lot of stuff that are happening in the UK where you can actually call a certain line. I'm sure you're going to put it as a women's aid and report that this is what there are ways to do it. In Africa, I'm not really sure in South Africa if there's those lines, but try to seek help with other people that have seen and met. I don't know. But, the same way, go not with pressure, but in a caring and supportive way. You as a lady who's going through domestic violence, it's hard. I talked about it starts with communicating. That, as I said, is the hard part. As I said, it's very hard to talk about someone you introduced. Remember, these people did not know this person. Your friends didn't know this person. Your family didn't know. You brought the person.
You brought that person to
them. So it's very hard then to paint him with a brush of abuse and stuff like that. So most of the times you find these people like me, we're hiding it because what you are seeking is the person you've met, the beautiful soul that you've met that ticked all your boxes. You are seeking to get that person and agazi. But all I can say is it usually does not stop. Once it starts, it does not stop. So that's what I'll leave the person with. Yes, it's hard to talk about it. Yes, it's hard to express, but it won't stop, my darling. So the best way is to communicate it with someone. Communicate it with someone. Talk to someone about it. Let someone know about it. Because once it starts, it doesn't usually stop. It doesn't all of a sudden change to be the person you want.
That's all of a sudden.
So there are so many ways to go about it. Those around you support. Handle it with support. Handle it with care. Don't be judgmental. There are so many reasons why one may not want to leave, even though they know they're being abused. There's so many children, everything like lobola for me and stuff like that. And you're obviously seeking to have that person that you met before back in your life. There's so many reasons that people stay, but the base of it is talking about it to someone, speak to someone, and that someone who's listening needs to be really wise in making sure they don't judge. We want the kind of people that would come, backbone said that, okay, if you don't want to live because of people, backbone without. You can start all over again. People do it. People always do it. People have done it. It can happen. But these are the resources that we can give you to actually start. We will always have your back. So you want people like that in your life when that is happening. It's a tricky one, but as I said, it doesn't stop when it starts. If you ufaka imbama, uzofaka even in 2 years, even in 3 years, even in 2 weeks. If that's how he thinks he can discipline you,
he's gonna still do it.
He's gonna do it. So once it starts, it doesn't usually stop. So it's up to you to handle it. Bangoko, oh, you want to enjoy it until you find this food. That's it. But people do die. Ladies are buried every single day in South Africa, specifically due to domestic violence. So you should not take it really lightly. I almost died. So it's real. It's sad.
It's
It's
time
rising.
to
It's
of the
growing. It's a mess.
Zimbi izinto ezenzekayo.
Imbi ndenzakalayo. I mean, I've also worked with cases where I would hear which somebody passed away because of domestic violence, and people don't report. They stay in those relationships. Sometimes you find maybe the police, somebody maybe reports to the police. Like for example, if I would go and say, okay, my sister has suffered this, and go and report to the police come to the house to speak to my sister because I'd seen it. My sister says nothing happened.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything to me. He hasn't done nothing. So
they need you to report it rather.
How do you support in such cases? Because now you try to support and you end up being the one burying your sister because of this.
Yeah. I think it's very tricky. It's very tricky. This thing is very tricky in that way because what you find out is the police would like, if they were to come in a scenario that you're talking about, they would like her to then talk.
Yeah.
If she doesn't talk, if she doesn't want to work with it, even if she says yes, but if she doesn't want to do anything about it, she doesn't want to do anything about it. Do you know that?
That's it.
So I think once, let's say, it's reported, I'm thinking how we can handle it. Once it's reported by a family member, it should have a little bit of a weight. Maybe the police would come inside the house, they give the supportive numbers, which I know probably they do.
They do.
I know they give the numbers, they encourage the person, they talk about the impact, and they do a little bit of work. They triage work. They do a little bit of work, and then they leave the person. As I remember, I said, it's sometimes not at that moment that it's gonna click.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes time.
Yeah.
Maybe that conversation with the police next week would make the person make a decision to leave that relationship. So I think as it stands, it's conversation, open and honest conversations about it that needs to happen. So it's supporting. We need to make it a point that we can see. I think the best thing, if I can see it, let's say in your own household, to actually alert you and tell you, I can see this is what will come. I'm hoping that it's not what I think it is. I can see that he's a bit cold. Are you okay? Are you you'll be saying, oh no, Unata, I'm good. But if it's happening and you have been living with it, trust me, at 1 o'clock when you're sleeping, you'll have conversation in your head that even
They can see.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Conversation about their corn.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see, you may be like, you may be like, oh, why are you saying that Unati to me? How can you do the But if it's happening,
You will go back.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So you must have. It starts there. People are dying. It's sad. The day I decided to leave my one, I almost died. So the guy comes in that this is the last actually day I've got fella up. Wow. And the guy comes, I don't know, he used to be but they're taking care of our quet, the boys that went to the no, it's not in Malata. It's a boy.
It is.
I can't remember the name in class, but
Ikangata.
That's the word. Ikangata. Thank you. He used to be which is a guy that used to be looking after the boys abayindabi. So these Amakangata would go away for days and days. So this time he went away for days. There's one thing that this guy never shoppered me about is Amandumbi. So I never, but he had problems. I don't. So as he was away, as I was sitting, I was only worried about his safety because I knew he was not into that. Throughout our, I never, if he was doing it, he was really good at hiding it. But I was, therefore, it made me get so worried about his safety for days. I think it was 3 to 4 days that he was away for. So I'm like, oh, so we are again in the morning this day, and he's, these people, they are rough. You can smell Indri about Kweta. Oh yeah, he was just right. He said he comes in, and I'm like, I was not even rude, I was like, where have you been? I've been worried about you. He was like, worried about what? About your safety. You left. You can't just leave like that. You need to tell me. There are phones. There were, mobile phones. You could have called. You have your mobile. I've got my mobile. You could have called and said, this is what I am.
Yeah.
I did not say anything else. That was it. My tone was not high. I was not on his face. I was sitting in the bed saying, no, you cannot, do that. I got worried here night and day. I did not know. I called everyone. I did not know. That was it. It was, that question was enough for Impam.
So, Impam.
I wanted better, but why are you asking me? No, do you think like you are my mother? And then I got upset because I did not raise my voice. I did not do it because previously I would be beaten for standing up for myself.
Yeah.
Raising my voice. When you're upset. But this time I wasn't. I was like trying to show that it's actually not good. So I was better, and then I got upset. I was like, you're better like doing it. Now I was pushing and shoving during the process because it was a man. I don't know. At some point, I was on the floor. I was on the floor, and he managed to knock me down with his boot on the face. So I was like locked down with his boot on my face. Like I could not move. Yeah. So at this point, then the way he was, even I was then at that point begging, please, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna ever ask you. I'm sorry. Because what he said at that moment, he said, I will kill you. Like imagine someone on me today, I will kill you. I will kill you and call the dispatch and show them your body. And I'll go into it's this person is telling you are there. And I'm thinking if he can turn and get whatever and then kill me at this moment. Because he's telling me, I'll kill you, I'll go and get the dispatch and I'll call them myself with your body. And then I'll go and to prison and live my 11 years there and come back and move on with my life. Don't fucking do this and do this and do this and do this. Then I thought, way too. Hands off. It never been up to that point. So and it did not end from there. And I said sorry, and then I stood and I sat on the bed, and then he was so getting aggravated. It was getting worse. Then it was like choking me. And, I was choked until I thought I was gonna go. I'm saying sorry. At this point, I couldn't really die. I only say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever. I'm really sorry. There was no way
Hey, when you're saying sorry,
that was when I thought, no ways. So when we're talking about that, we may not think these people are capable of doing, but when they were in that rage, that rage. I tell you, so you don't take it lightly, the fact that one day he will lose control, and I believe that day was that for that guy. He just lost control of the matter, and he was not. Later, he went on to say he does not know what got into him. He lost control. He did because he had his own issues. When I would own issues, would really end up killing you. Yeah. Like most of these victims, it's not the first time they were beaten. There have been before, most cases. Yeah. There have been battered before, there have been clapped, there have been before. And then it builds up. Yeah, but that day I saw that I will definitely die. And the fact that he had a plan, what he was going to do, he was going to call dispatch, this is my body, and then he will be taken to prison. And then he will serve, even you 11 years.
Knows.
I'll serve my 11 years and I'll come back and live my life.
Yeah, it's very scary because you're thinking, did he research this? People.
It was shocking. So leave, my sister, leave. If it's that, it's seek help together. If you love the person so much, he needs to seek help. I don't know, but for me, I don't see. I don't if that person seeks to resolve issues like that with violence. I'm not sure what's gonna change that person. I don't know. I don't know how.
iTunes on the beat.
That's all for today. We had a great time this weekend.
Yes, we did. So please
Don't forget to subscribe, give us your
thumbs up and comment. We would really love to hear what you guys think about the topics, the episodes.